direction, but not taking that way. Like suddenly somebody's coming to you and it's like, this is very awkward. It's like, I'm the minister, I'm not supposed to be cared for.
Hello, hello.
Right. Right, but it's still
Good morning. Awkward for you. Good.
right, like it can't become a codependent kind of relationship. But like in the moment, yes. And he took when I was talking about it, he said he likes being open.
Will you be?
Yep.
Will you? Yeah. Let's do it again.
That's not what we're starting to say this. Well, no, but like him.
Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember to bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on.
How's our balance? Thank you, everybody.
I don't even know, see, it's got this sound hole. See how it's like recessed like that? Yeah. So you just kind of bounce it around. Who knows what's in there? Oh well, we may just live in
We're covered, so I'll do it. I haven't done it.
Yeah, finishing touch of its own.
We have 1 minute. Good morning, everyone. My name is Noelle Aring, and I'm a member of the board here at TVUUC. And on behalf of the board and the Program Council, it is my pleasure to welcome you here today. Whether you are in the building or watching online, you are welcome here. So let's wave to our friends. You are welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you are from, and wherever you are on your journey, you are welcome here. All of you, all of who you are is sacred, and all of who you are is welcome. If you would like more information about our church, please fill out the visitor card in the pocket in front of your, in the pocket in front on your seat. And also, if you are online, you can also just request more information, or if you go onto our website at tvuuc.org, you can select Stay in Touch, and we'll reach out to you in multiple ways. If you are visiting us with small children, we invite you to sit up front where it's easy for your little ones to see what's going on. And actually, we already have a little congregation of them. Please don't feel that you must keep them still. All are welcome here, including the wiggles and giggles, and that includes the adults as well. If you need to step out with your child for a moment, we have the E.E. Cummings room, which is a glass enclosed room at the back of the sanctuary, where you can still see and hear the service. However, that is for your family's comfort, but do not feel obligated to use it. We understand that silence is never completely silent. If you're interested in classes for your children here at TVUC, please visit our religious exploration table. If you didn't see it, it's on the way in the gallery area of the lobby, where you can either find me after service, and I'm happy to chat more about our RE service. You can also find more information on our website. The beauty of today, and for those of you who don't know, we only have one announcement, and I'm so thrilled. Yay! So this announcement is for Starting Point. What is Starting Point, you ask? Well, it is a session that is not only for those interested in membership, but also for established members. It offers newcomers and old-timers an opportunity to explore ways in which Unitarian Universalism can make a difference in our lives, which, as we all know, is very important right now. Not only will it help you to decide if UUism is right for you, but it also an opportunity to reflect on your beliefs and values. The next session is today from 1 to 3 in the Lizzie Crozier French room after our potluck. And if you don't know where that is actually the room on the way in. When you come in through the double doors, it's right there. We are extremely excited to offer this, and we think it'll be a deep and meaningful journey exploring Unitarian Universalism. And now I'm going to pass it over to Reverend Chris Bice.
Before we have our introduction of speaker, I just wanted to orient you to the many different ways to give. There'll be a passing of the plate later, and you can put cash or check in there. You can also give in the kiosk, which is in our church lobby, and you can give a gift through text by sending TVUUC an amount to 73256, or if you're a member, you can pledge through the Realm account. And this is a special Sunday, and I'm going to let Elnora Williams introduce our speaker.
Good morning. Good morning. We welcome today the newly ordained minister, the Reverend Phoenix Bell-Shelton Biggs. Reverend Biggs is an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, a fierce advocate for social justice, and a compassionate spiritual care provider. As a queer, BIPOC, and non-binary individual, their ministry is rooted in radical love and sanctuary movements dedicated to disrupting patriarchy and dismantling systems of oppression. Reverend Phoenix has served as an intern minister at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fredericksburg, Virginia, from 2022 up to 2024, and holds leadership roles in transformative organizations such as the UU Mental Health Network, the UU Young Adult Revival Network, and Transgender Religious Professional Unitarian Universalists Together. They will soon complete a spiritual health residency at Emory University Hospital before entering congregational ministry. Reverend Phoenix earned a Master of Divinity degree from Meadville Lombard Theological School in 2024, a BS in Religious Studies in 2021, and an AS in Media Production in 2018. Each degree empowering them to advocate for marginalized communities and provide inclusive, healing pastoral care. Outside of their ministry, Reverend Phoenix finds joy in nature, vegan food, theater, and coffee, grounding themselves in the beauty and balance of life. Their journey is driven by a deep commitment to building a more just, loving, and liberated world for all. Reverend Biggs, congratulations on your ordination held last week at UU Congregation, Atlanta. I enjoyed serving on your ordination committee. Welcome home to TVUC. And now we will have a special presentation for Reverend Biggs.
Reverend Biggs, before I begin, I have to say that it's not a contest, but you've won for the best pair of shoes ever worn by any minister in the history of the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church from 1949 onward. And it has been a privilege to watch your ministry blossom and bloom, to see how you have ministered to people within the walls of this congregation. But I always have a special memory of the Interfaith Pride service. It was at the MCC Church where you announced to the community that you were going to pursue ordination in the Unitarian Universalist ministry, and that crowd went wild. So you have a ministry not only within the walls of Unitarian Universalist congregations throughout the country, but the community and the world. And as a special gift on behalf of this congregation, I want to present to you this stole. I always like to present a stole that I've worn so you know that it has been used for the ministry of this church that has helped to launch you. It was made by our own Catherine Farmer-Loya, and that speaks to your commitment to intergenerational community and religious education, and that's a especially good one to wear at pride parades. So welcome home.
this world there's a whole lot of trouble, baby. In this world there's a whole lot of pain. In this world there's a whole lot of trouble, but a whole lot of ground to gain. Why take when you could be given? Why watch as the world goes by? It's a hard enough life to be living. Why walk when you can fly? In this world there's a whole lot of sorrow. In this world there's a whole lot of shame. In this world there's a whole lot of sorrow and a whole lot of ground to gain. When you spend your whole life wishing, wanting and wondering why, it's a long enough life to be living. Why walk when you can fly? In this world there's a whole lot of gold, and in this world there's a whole lot of plain. In this world you've a soul for a compass and a heart for a pair of wings. There's a star on the far horizon, rising bright in an azure sky, where the rest of the time that you're given. Why walk when you can fly?
Beloveds, it is so good to be here again. At TVUC, for those who are here for the first time, those who this is your 100th time, will know that this is truly home. There's a reason that Unitarian Universalist ministers say we have a home church, a congregation that we know sparked our ministry. And for those that know, TVUC was that church, and for those that don't, TVUC was that church that believed in my ministry. Beloveds, come and let your body tell the truth. As you hear the words of the Reverend Gretchen Haley, come across platforms and practice to declare your joy and resilience, to proclaim on purpose, we have survived. We have survived the pandemics of our times. We are surviving and have pivoted. We have planned and replanned and replanned, and then thrown all the plans out to the wind. In the circles we say without shame, some days we have lost our way. We've lost our passwords, changed our passwords, forgot what we changed our passwords to. We've not known how to spell our passwords backwards. If you know, you know. And throughout all of this, we've not always been our best selves. We're learning. We're not always quick at learning, to regroup, to remember, to be imperfect. For perfection was never the point. We are here because we are trying again to promise to be partners in a road, in the long work of loving and becoming, even when grief comes with a cost, which is no small lineage on our hearts, and it turns out sometimes as rage. So heal, beloveds, let your body tell the truth. Shake free the stories that live in your skin. Breathe in your beauty and breathe out your burdens. But heal, be healed with all of us in this freedom of a new day, in this storm that is passing over, in the sun that is breaking through, in the new day that draws to us all. Come, come, let us worship together. You are invited to rise in body or in spirit, and turn in your gray hymnals to hymn number 2. We will be singing verses 1, 6, and 7. Hymn 102, verses 1, 6, and 7.
It's actually the chalice lighting song. That's next.
We'll be singing that song in just a minute. So you're invited to sing the chalice lighting song found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our great covenant. Now you may turn in your great hymnals to song number 2, verses 1, 6, and 7.
Down the ages we have trod many paths in search of God, seeking ever to define the eternal and divine. Though the truth we can't perceive, this at least we must believe. What we take most earnestly in our living deity. Our true God we there shall find in what claims our hearts and mind, and our hidden thoughts enshrine that which for us is divine.
Good morning. It is good to be gathered in all the ways we gather in community together. Those of us here in this room this morning, those watching from elsewhere in the building or at home or another space, I'm really glad to be with you today. And I have a story to share with you this morning, and I will tell you, it might just be our one true UU miracle story. Our tradition doesn't have a lot of miracle stories, but there is this one. But first, I wonder, have any of us ever taken a long journey? You're going to hear about a long journey in a little bit, but before that, have any of us ever felt like things were going pretty well for us? So this is a story about a man named John Murray. And John Murray was in his young adulthood having a pretty good time. He had a stable home and a good job. He had a loving spouse and a young child. And he was a Universalist minister. He preached to other people where he was in England about love that was so great that it held all of us. Universal love. He believed in a God who loved everybody, no matter what. But then things started to go not well. Have any of us ever had a time where things were not going the way we wanted or needed them to go? John Murray's young child became very sick and did not survive. And when he was heartbroken about that, his wife too became very ill, and John Murray spent all his money trying to save her, but she too died. And in those days, if you had no money, you could be thrown in jail. It was called debtor's prison because he couldn't pay all the debts he had. And so he had lost everything that mattered to him. He had a friend who helped him get out of debtor's prison, and then John Murray decided there was nothing left for him. He had lost everything that mattered, and he decided to leave England and go on that long journey I mentioned. And he decided to sail across the sea to America, to what was not yet the United States of America. And he sailed, this is one detail that I really love, he sailed on a ship called the Hand in Hand. And he sailed across the sea. And after a long time, he was close to his destination, and the ship was headed towards New York, but it was almost all the way across and was kind of heading up the coast towards New York, and instead, it ran aground on a sandbar not far off the coast of New Jersey. And there it stayed. Because the wind that was blowing was keeping it stuck on that sandbar. Can we be some wind today? The wind was keeping that ship stuck. So John Murray, along with a couple other people, agreed to go off of the ship in a small dinghy and go to shore and try to find directions and supplies. And so he did. He got to the shore, and he came to shore on a farm, an area where there was a farm with a small farmhouse and a small building that looked like a chapel or a tiny church. And it was the land of a man named Thomas Potter. Thomas Potter is going to be very important for this story. Because when Thomas Potter met John Murray and talked with him a little bit, John learned more about Thomas and who he was, and Thomas told him he had built that church on his land 10 years earlier and had been waiting for 10 years for somebody to come and preach about universal love. He had been waiting for a universalist preacher to come and preach in his chapel. What do you think happened? Thomas Potter said to John Murray, "Are you that preacher? Can you come and preach on Sunday?" And John Murray said, "Nope." He said, I'm not a preacher. He had left all of that behind. But Thomas Potter was not so easily deterred. And Thomas Potter asked John Murray, "Is it the case that you have preached about universal salvation, about universal love before?" And John Murray admitted that, yes, he had done that before. And Thomas Potter continued to pressure him, say, "Please, on Sunday, would you preach in my chapel? I have been waiting for you for 10 years. And John Murray said, "Well, you know, the wind's going to change, and my ship is going to be long gone. I'm not going to stay here when my ship goes. I'm sorry." And Thomas Potter said, "The winds will not change." What do you think the winds did? They didn't change. Sunday came, and John Murray, there was no hope for it. John Murray had said he would preach if he was still there, and so he did. On September 30th, 1770, John Murray preached the first Universalist sermon from a Universalist minister in what is now the United States of America. But that, I think, might not be the real miracle, because John Murray then went on. He got back on his ship. He went to New York. He actually took up preaching once again. And he became known as the father of Universalism in America. He helped to found the first Universalist church in America. And even more than that, later on, he met a woman named Judith Sargent, and he married her. And they had a child together. And Judith Sargent was actually also a really important person. She wrote the first Universalist catechism, which is kind of a way of saying she was the very first person to start religious education in Unitarian Universalism. Perhaps the real miracle of this story is that he left England because he had lost all hope. He had lost all love. Everything was behind him, and he was just leaving. But love had different plans for him. Perhaps the real miracle is the love that is still possible even when he had lost all hope. And so today we can remember John Murray and Thomas Potter and the wind that did not change. So thank you all. And now those who are heading to our religious exploration spaces in honor of Judith Sargent Murray, we will sing them out with our recessional.
Well, good morning. I will warn you in advance that this is going to go on longer than I meant for it to. Lots of things came in at the last minute, and I've got some updates for you. So my name is Carolyn Rogers, and I'm here as part of the spiritual care team. We're here for you, 8 of us who are trained volunteers, and with a few professionals and a lot of experience. David and Tina, John Montgomery, John Coffey, Mike, Mebby, Wimberly recently, and now Maris, and more on that later. Our conversations are all held in confidence unless we have your permission to share. And you can call or text the pastoral care phone number, which is on the back of the order of service and online. You can stop me after the service too if you want, and I can connect you with somebody. So we're so glad to have Phoenix joining us today. And for me, it's also a special joy because we met when he was a freshman in college and was one of the youngest member of the LGBTQ helpline. So that's where we started. Thank you. Another joy of the day is we're happy to have Maris rejoining our team. She completed the training a few years ago and worked with us for a couple of years, and she's been taking a break. But she feels a strong call to join us again, especially to support our queer community in this time here at TVUC. So last week we provided an update about the Weaver family, but as soon as we got out of church, we got another update. So if you didn't see the newsletter Wednesday, we learned after church last week that Sarah was back in the hospital where they're keeping close tabs on her blood pressure. The twins are still doing well, and we expect them to arrive on or before next Sunday. So Holly Cannon has been working with Sarah and Ori to help schedule occasional meals and childcare, and some of you may have seen that announcement. So Ori can keep working at home and then visit Sarah if you're able to help in these ways. So you can see me after church or call the spiritual care line. Sending light and love indeed. So we're also sending light to Mike Matby, whose sister, a long-time resident of San Francisco's North Beach neighborhood, he says, she died on January 7th. He was very glad that he'd gotten to visit her late last year as her health was declining. And then as we were walking in this morning, we got the note that Trudy Monaco's husband, Jim Bryant, Jim Bryant, yes, that he died on just a couple of days ago. In the obituary, they write, "A grounded spiritual man of faith, he was unafraid of death. He moved on with the same grace and dignity that he exhibited throughout his life. He died peacefully at home with his wife at his side after a valiant fight with cancer on January 28th. So I'm not sure if we already shared this or not, but we thought it would be better to do it twice than not at all. We learned that Susie Feinberg's mother, Ruth, died just a couple of weeks ago at age 101. So we send healing thoughts to Susie and her daughter, Sasha, who is currently studying in Oregon. And we bring you joy from the Williams family, the Elnora Williams family. Even though the new administration thinks they've called a halt to many cultural celebrations, we were happy to kick off Black History Month yesterday with a celebration of Elnora Williams' 80th birthday. So many thanks to Frederick, who coordinated this sweet event. And I don't know about you, but I want to be like Elnora when I grow up. Can I get an amen? Okay, and as Catherine was saying, even if you have lost all hope, speaking of the new administration, I bring you a combination of deep concerns and energetic opportunities for some joyful participation. I will assure you that, although I have felt like preaching, I know I'll be preaching to the choir, so I'm working to provide you with inspiration to inspire you to join me in action. So most of us have listened with jaws dropped and jaws clenched as we hear more and more orders being proclaimed. The recent one, pausing celebrations for MLK Jr. Day, Black History Month, Pride Month, Holocaust Days of Remembrance, Juneteenth, Women's History Month, etc., in response to the ban on DEI programs. So when I read this yesterday, I felt like I'd been punched in the chest, just like many of you, I'm sure. So here are some opportunities for standing up and working together instead of letting this painful and polarizing rhetoric break us down and tear us apart. So I'm one of the co-chairs and founders of Pride Interfaith Knox Coalition, and we work with multiple faith groups in the community to support our LGBTQIA+ family, as well as to address injustices. We've been encouraged by the trans woman, who is the LGBTQ liaison to the police department and the mayor, to develop action teams within each of our faith groups so we can make our voices heard. Now, here in our congregation, Lynn Hickson has been working to reactivate our welcoming congregation committee. You can contact Lynn or me, and let's get this going. Will you join us? Among some of the other changes, Lynn was telling me last night that the State Department that helps with travel issues has changed their travel information from LGBTQIA+ travelers to LGB travelers only, removing all mention of trans from their website. The Pride Interfaith Knox Coalition, sometimes I cry when I think about this. So the Pride Interfaith Knox Coalition has issued a press release addressing the ban on gender-affirming care for minors, and we will be planning a rally soon on Market Square. That's one other thing you can do. We'll be joining Tennessee Equality Project in Nashville, Day on the Hill on February 11th. February 11th. We need drivers and we need passengers. So that's another thing. Will you join us? Who is going to be the action team for Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church? So I know, we all know, this kind of stepping up is not for everybody. It's really a stretch for me. Many of you help provide meals and rides and visits to dear ones in this community, and that is vital. That is from the ground up, and it's not only useful, but it's fulfilling to the person providing this. So we can always use someone to coordinate a group to provide any of this care. Like right now, we have someone coordinating meals for 2 families, child care for 1 family, rides for 2 different people, and visits for another one. So that's a lot that's going on that we know about. There's other things we don't even know about. So you can contact me or David Massey or call the pastoral care phone if you were interested in helping with any of that. So, as I wrote and reviewed these notes, I kept hearing these lines from one of Paul Simon's wonderful songs. And it goes something like, "So what are you going to do about it?" That's what I'd like to know. Please see me after the service or call the spiritual care phone and let me know. So I'll leave you with these thoughts. Enjoy the first Sunday lunch today. Stop by the caring table and sign the cards. Text someone that you're thinking of them. And join me in singing to all of these and those held in privacy. We are sending you light. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love. We are sending you light to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light to hold you in love.
Morning. My name's Ted Jones. It says testimonial. This is not a testimonial. This is an introduction because it's that time of year again. It's pledge time. It's our annual pledge drive. As a review, and for those of you who may be new to this system, what is a pledge drive? At this time of year, we ask all members and friends to give us an estimate of how much money they think they will be contributing to the church operating fund for the next fiscal year, July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. Once we have all the pledges in, the board can create a budget, and then the congregation votes on the budget in late May, early June. So this pledge campaign will last 4 weeks and end on March 2nd, when we will provide you with a lunch after the service. Over the next 4 weeks, you'll receive physical mail and electronic mail about the pledge campaign. You'll hear someone give a testimonial each of the next 4 weeks about the importance of Tennessee Valley to them. There'll be a table in the fellowship hall or lobby the next 4 weeks where you can chat, ask questions, and turn in your pledge. 100% of our stewardship team has already turned in their pledge, so we're off to a good start. Thank you, stewardship team, for your support. A pledge. Pledge is not really giving. Pledge is what you say you will give. So if you go set up a bank draft, that's very good. We're happy for that, but that's actually not a pledge. Pledging and giving are oddly 2 different things. And a pledge is not really a pledge. It's not an oath, it's not a promise, it's not an IOU. It's your best guess of how much money you think you will be giving. It can be revised. We know life happens. We know things change. So don't let fear and uncertainty paralyze you from giving a pledge, your best estimate right now. A pledge can be 0. You may be in a life situation where you're unable to spare any money to give to the church. We have some members and friends in that situation. It helps us to create a budget to know that and to estimate our income. So even if you write 0 on a pledge, that's good. That helps us know what's going on. So everyone can pledge. All members and friends can give a pledge of something. How do you pledge? Let me count the ways. You can go on Realm and set up automatic giving there if you want, but you can make a pledge in your Realm account. You can go to the church website, click on the front website. You can get literature. You will be getting literature that has QR codes and links. Or you can go old school and get out a pledge card and drop it in a box and write your name on it for those traditionalists among us. So there's lots of different ways to do that. There's a couple of new wrinkles. If you've been around here long enough, you remember that a personal visit with a visiting steward was the way you gave a pledge. You would meet with somebody at your home or their home or a coffee shop and talk about it and make a pledge face to face. That system is resource intensive and it's really hard to do that very often, but some people loved it. They enjoyed meeting with somebody. So this year we have that as an option. If you would like a visiting steward to come visit you and talk about a pledge and what it means to you and what you might be able to give, let us know and we can make that happen. A personal visit by a visiting steward. I call them church ambassadors. They're nice folks and they would love to meet with you if you'd like. You can ask Joe Touchton if he still provides whiskey in exchange for pledges. Another new wrinkle we have is a new Fair Share Giving Guide. If you've been around, we've had a Fair Share Giving Guide that looks like a tax form and was very off-putting for a number of folks. So we have a new guide that has been described as being kinder. It may not be cheaper, but it's kinder. So there's a copy on our website, and there's a copy, we can give you a physical copy in the lobby. We have a large graph in the lobby that shows how many members and friends gave how much money, not names, but numbers, so you can kind of see church giving, so you can kind of look at that and use that as information about how much your pledge might be. Now, our theme for this year's campaign is now more than ever. This theme revealed itself to us the last several weeks. We've had two major spikes in church attendance. One was right after the election, and one was right after the inauguration. It feels as though people are searching even more intensely for a place like this. If you've been here the last several months, maybe you've felt your gut feeling about being here and the energy. There's great change in our society. People, us, are searching for organizing groups and strategies, just like Carolyn was talking about, to address challenges. People like us need a place for a safe harbor to feel supported, to feel welcome, to find strength, to heal, a place to get centered and get energy and support to move forward. If you felt stressed about the nation's situation, then we need Tennessee Valley more than ever. If you've limited or dropped off social media because it was too stressful, we need Tennessee Valley now more than ever. If you felt alone, lost, scared, then we need Tennessee Valley now more than ever. Please consider the value that Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church has given to you and your family. Turn in your pledge the next few weeks and give as you're able. Thank you.
Please remain seated to sing page 23 in your great hymnal, and we're going to do verses 1 and 6.
Bring many names, beautiful and good, celebrating parable and story, holiness in glory, living, loving
The Journey by Mary Oliver. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began. Though the voice around you kept shouting, "They're bad advice." Though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. "Mend my life," each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations. Though their melancholy was terrible, it was already late enough and a wild night, and the roads full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save.
Let us enter into a time of meditation and prayer. Holy One, known by many different names, but sometimes felt most profoundly in complete silence. This is our prayer for shared ministry, a ministry where there is not one voice, but many voices, not one life, but many lives, not one dogma, but many different perspectives, not one person, but a beloved community of loving people committed to transforming this world through acts of love and justice. Not a church that says my way or the highway, but a congregation where many paths lead to the mountaintop. For ministry was never meant to be hoarded by the few, but shared by the many. And for this reason, this is our prayer for shared ministry. And in this spirit, we enter into a time of shared silence. Amen. I now invite you to give generously to the work of this congregation.
Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary, be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. This one knocked me to the ground. This one dropped me to my knees. I should have seen it coming, but it surprised me. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary, be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. In a state of true believers on streets called us and them, it's gonna take some time till the world feels safe again. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but gone? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on. You can rest here in Brown Chapel or with a circle of friends, a quiet grove of trees or between two bookends. Will you be my refuge, my haven in the storm? Will you keep the embers warm when my fire's all but dawn? Will you remember and bring me sprigs of rosemary? Be my sanctuary till I can carry on, carry on, carry on, carry on.
Take a breath. And another. I wish I could tell you that the streets are going to be safe, but I can't. What I can tell you and promise you is this, that this is a sanctuary, that you can rest here, that you can belong here when the world out there may be telling you you can't. Ancestor, American writer, professor, and spiritual leader, an intersectional feminist and poet and civil rights activist, Audre Lorde once said, "We must recognize and nurture the creative parts of each of us, without always understanding what is being and will be and has been created." It is in this that I invite us to reflect on the sacred rhythm of destruction and creation in our lives today. These two forces, destruction and creation, are essential to our spiritual journeys and our well-being. Destruction is the act of clearing away that which no longer serves, of tearing down beliefs and systems that have harmed, of creating space for creation, for new life, new possibilities, and new ways of being. This rhythm is not just an abstract thought, but is a cycle of new experiences of our lives. We are all entrusted with the movement. We have all encountered movements of loss, of hurt, that require us to dismantle something we once thought was healing, to dismantle something we once thought was essential, to dismantle something we once found comfort in, only to realize that it was preventing us from growing, from loving, from healing. And yet, in this very same way, in the process of destruction, we find the seeds for a new beginning. I know this from my own journey, growing up, inheriting a framework, a set of beliefs and expectations, a way the world thought I should be. And I lived those standards, those values, those beliefs, and it didn't reflect who I was. As I began to embark on a spiritual journey, to understand who I was as a person, who the God that I believe in was truly calling me to be, I had to dismantle a lot of things. I had to dismantle the limiting beliefs that I held that were harmful. I had to dismantle the systems that shaped my worldview. It was a painful process, but one that made room for me to build something truer, something new, something worth believing in, led me to sanctuary, to this sanctuary, when an administration changed hands in 2016. Today, I want to preach about how destruction isn't needed. Today, I want to preach that the streets are safe. But we all know that's not the reality. So today, I will preach about how the destruction we engage in, how when we engage destruction with love, we make space for creation and healing and justice. We make space for a process that can lead us to build sanctuaries where all people are not only surviving, but where they have the very tools and resources and communities they need to be thriving. Part 1, destruction, the sacred work of dismantling systems. Destruction as liberation. Destruction is not always a negative force. In fact, it can be deeply, deeply liberating. The process of destruction is what clears away the rubble of old systems, old beliefs and ways of being. It is the process of being deeply personal, deeply connected, and engaging the collective. Audre Lorde once said, caring for oneself is not an act of self-indulgence. It is an act of self-preservation. It is an act of political warfare. The act of destruction, when it clears away that which harms us, is an act of love, not just for ourselves, but for our collective, for the world in need of healing. Think of a personal, transformative moment that you undergo. The truth is, we all undergo transformative moments. The loss of a loved one, something that makes us rethink our priorities, a shift in our beliefs that open up new perspectives, a life event that causes us to question what is comfort and to find comfort in what might be uncomfortable. These moments of destruction, like grief, might be moments that are holy, moments that are the precursor for something better on the horizon. I remember when I first began to dismantle systems that had harmed. I was challenged to rethink theology, to rethink what the world was inviting me to live into. I was challenged because I felt that something must be wrong with me. Something must have been wrong with me if people could abuse and bully and put death notes in a school locker. Something clearly must have been wrong. I had to dismantle all of that, had to dismantle it to find those nurturing moments, to remember that uncovering joy, a joy that is rooted in love and acceptance and integrity and authenticity, can't be taken away. And that when I was able to realize that, I knew that it wasn't me there was something wrong with. It's not you that there is something wrong with. It's society and the world. We all go through processes. It could be the end of a toxic relationship. It could be the loss of a job or the realizing that a dream no longer aligns with who you are. It could be the feelings that the streets are no longer safe and the realization that the streets haven't been safe for so many. Destruction becomes the sacred work of living in and with and between the divine, the desire to make room for truth that makes room for us. Just as a forest fire clears away the dead wood to make space for new life, so too must we sometimes let go of old beliefs and attitudes and systems in order to welcome something life-giving. Just like destructive wildfires, I think of those in Los Angeles and parts of California, of the pain that they are experiencing. The fires that bring devastation and loss and heartache that we can't ignore. The grief that brings devastation, loss, and heartache that we can't ignore. Yet, in that destruction, maybe, just maybe, there's something new that can emerge. It is said that when ashes rise, there is hope, that the promise of pain and loss will grow new possibilities, that the land, though scarred, has the capacity to regenerate, that the trees' networks can begin to rebuild. And I believe the same is true about us. That when our systems have been scarred, when our lives have been scarred, that we can begin to build new systems, new networks, and new communities that invite us into joy, into love, into living our purpose without question. After the dust settles, the destruction we are faced with is our sacred task, the task of creation, where the magic begins to happen, creating not just for ourselves, but for the world, building something new, aligned with ourselves, with our trust, with our healing and their healing in mind. There is no street called us and them. unless we create it. So for me, creation begins when I allow myself to build new spiritual identities, the destruction of old, the creation of new, the inclusive versus the exclusive. Loving that is rooted in an understanding of the sacred, of a worthy dignity that we don't have to, that I don't have to fight for. Because the God of universal love says, you, I, and we are worthy of it, simply because she created us. I think of the work of social justice movements, from the civil rights movement to the fight for marriage equality, to environmental justice efforts, to dismantling other systems of oppression, to dismantling white supremacy, to protecting and honoring trans lives in a nation and administration that is trying to say, that's not a priority. I think of the collective power of destruction and creation when we tear down those systems, when we build up a new system, when we can look someone in the eye and say, I am sorry that some would have you to believe that you are not worthy. I think of a sanctuary that is needed now more than ever, a sanctuary where people know their worth, a sanctuary that connects with Desmond Tutu's vision of a word, where Desmond states, my humanity is bound up in yours. For we can only be human together. The work of creation is a communal act, a communal bond that by together we form beliefs and communities and systems where we can only be human together. Creation is about more than just rebuilding, though. It is about a shared vision. It is about accountable action in that vision. And it's about, if you believe in that vision, doubling your pledge, tripling it, forfeiting that cup of coffee, that maybe if you did so once a week, you could add $100 or more to your pledge. It is about creating a system and sustaining a system that creates healing and liberation. It is an act of love that Bell Hooks names is unwilling to let go. Love that is an act will namely be both an intention and an action. So all those actions that Caroline named earlier are an act of sanctuary. It's an act of connection. It's an act of rebuilding. It is where we feel safe enough to fully explore what it means to be together. And so, beloveds, may you find sanctuary here at TVUC. May you find sanctuary online if you are watching and a part of TVUC. May you find sanctuary in the chambers of your houses. May you find sanctuary in community. May you leave this place with your hearts full. May you be open and ready to destruct what needs destructing, to create what needs creating, and to know that when your cup is empty, when the streets are unsafe, when everyone is telling you that you do not matter out there, that here, this place, can and will be and has always been your sanctuary. So may we build sanctuary in ways that deeply listen. May we build sanctuary in ways that speak truth to power with love, in ways that stand with those who are oppressed, in ways that stand with those whose rights are being taken away with the stroke of a pen. May we build sanctuary as we dismantle the oppressive sanctuaries that some would have us believe are real. Sanctuary isn't just a place, it's a way of being. Sanctuary is the radical practice of love in action. So, go committed, ready to build and find and invite sanctuary wherever you go, knowing that we create sanctuary together, and if not together, there is no sanctuary.
We can raise them, can't we? Let's join together in our closing hymn. I want to say if you're older and need a little, you can move toward the door. If you have mobility issues, if you're going to pick up kids during this closing hymn, because we have a special lunch that everyone's invited to, you can use this closing hymn to get positioned. Hymn 1035 in the teal hymnal, Freedom is Coming. Prophetic Church, the world awaits your liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love. Proclaim the truth that makes us free. As our last act of worship, I invite you to turn and greet your neighbor.
A.